6 reasons to feel more alive after 70, even without friendships. Have you ever wondered if growing older might actually bring more peace, not less? And are you sure that friendship, in the way we were taught to value it, still serves you the same way after 70? In this video, we're going to touch on something rarely spoken out loud. What if true freedom begins the moment you stop holding on, even to people? It's not about bitterness. It's not about giving up. It's about choosing depth over noise, meaning over maintenance, silence over small talk. Some say that staying connected is essential at any age. But what if letting go of certain ties after 70 is what finally lets you return to yourself? If you've ever felt a quiet shift inside you, a longing to spend your time differently, to live by your own rhythm, then stay with me. Because what you're feeling is not a sign of decline. It's the first real breath of personal freedom. Today, we'll explore 6 deep reasons why friendship in its usual form may not be as essential as you think, and how this shift can open up a lighter, more fulfilling chapter of life. And no, this is not a call to loneliness. This is a celebration of something else, something more rare and more beautiful. Stay with me until the end. The last insight may change the way you see your age and yourself forever. 1. You no longer owe anyone an explanation. All your life, you've tried to show up, to explain, to be enough for everyone. But at some point, something inside you whispers, you don't have to anymore. There's a quiet freedom that comes with age. Not loud, not announced, but deep. It arrives when you realize that your worth is no longer up for discussion. In your younger years, maybe you reached out again and again. Maybe you adjusted your words, your rhythm, even your dreams, just to fit in, to be accepted, to keep the peace. But now, you've lived enough, you've seen enough, you've given more than most, and you're allowed to stop explaining your silence, or your distance, or your peace. Take someone like Eleanor, who lives in a small town outside of Asheville. For decades, she was the glue, the planner, the peacemaker, the birthday rememberer. But after her 73rd birthday, she realized something strange. No one was showing up for her anymore. They had moved on, forgotten, or simply stopped reaching. And for the first time, she didn't panic. She didn't chase. She made herself a cup of tea, opened her journal, and said aloud, "Let it be." Because when you stop running after people, you begin to arrive at yourself. From this point on, you are not required to be available to those who disappeared when you needed them most. You are not obligated to explain why you spend time alone, why you decline invitations, or why your phone is off on Sunday afternoons. What you owe now is to yourself: peace, presence, and authenticity. You do not need applause to feel valid. You don't need to justify joy that comes from stillness. So if you're watching this and feel that small ache, the one that says, "But I used to matter to them," let it be replaced with a stronger voice: "I matter to me." 2. Silence is no longer emptiness. It's shelter. Do you remember the days when your schedule was packed, your phone wouldn't stop ringing, and your presence was expected everywhere? In those days, silence felt uncomfortable. Emptiness felt like failure. But now, you begin to understand. Silence isn't a void. It's a home. After 70, the soul starts to crave not more people, but more peace. And the most beautiful part? That peace often arrives when we stop calling those who only called when they needed something. Let me tell you about James, a retired music teacher from Oregon. In his 50s and 60s, his house was full of people, former students, neighbors, old friends. He was the host, the helper, the one who always said yes. But after his 72nd birthday, the invitations slowed. The phone calls grew shorter. At first, he feared the silence. But something unexpected happened. He sat on his porch one spring morning, birdsong in the background, coffee in hand, and realized he wasn't lonely. He was free. No more small talk, no more draining visits, no more pretending to laugh at stories he'd heard a dozen times before. Now, instead of a calendar full of obligations, he has space. Space to think, to walk slowly, to notice the light through the trees, to remember who he is when no one is watching. And here's something worth remembering. Not every friendship brings peace. Some only bring noise, some drain more than they give. Some were beautiful once, but no longer fit your current soul. So if you've begun to cherish your mornings alone, if a quiet evening with a book brings more joy than a dinner table full of old stories, Don't apologize. You're not withdrawing. You're returning to yourself. Let peace be your closest companion now. Let silence be your soft blanket. Because at this stage of life, you don't need more voices, you need more truth, and truth often speaks in whispers. 3. Fewer friendships, fewer disappointments. When we are young, we carry so much hope in our hands. We believe that every connection will last, every friend will understand us, every promise will be kept. But with age comes a quieter truth. The fewer expectations we hold, the lighter we walk. After 70, the heart no longer wants to chase those who don't see it. The soul grows tired of one-sided calls, forgotten birthdays, promises made in passing, and never fulfilled. Dorothy, 79, from Pennsylvania, once told me something that stayed with me. I used to think I had 20 friends. Then I stopped calling first, and realized I had 3. And you know what? Those 3 were more than enough. Because they were real. Quiet, steady, no drama, no performance. Letting go of people who don't show up doesn't make you bitter. It makes you clear. You no longer need to justify why you stopped texting someone who never replied. You no longer need to keep pretending that everything is fine with those who only remember you when it's convenient. The older you get, the more sacred your energy becomes. And with that sacredness comes discernment. You begin to see who truly walks beside you, and who only followed your shadow. So if some friends have disappeared over time, bless them. Let them go like autumn leaves, beautiful once, but no longer needed in winter. Fewer friendships mean fewer misunderstandings, fewer conversations mean fewer wounds, and fewer people mean more room for peace. Because true friendship after 70 is not about quantity, it's about quiet reciprocity. A single warm voice that says I'm here means more than 100 who forgot your name. So let your circle shrink if it must. Let it become a sanctuary, not a stadium. And trust this, whatever leaves your life now was not meant to walk with you into this sacred chapter. 4. After 70, your time becomes more valuable than ever. When you are young, it feels like time is endless. You make plans, go to events, agree to things just to be polite. But after 70, everything changes. You begin to feel that every hour, every morning, every peaceful afternoon matters more. You start thinking differently. Do I really want to spend my time like this? Is this person or event worth my energy today? It's not about being selfish. It's about being realistic. You have less energy, and it doesn't come back as fast as it used to. So you learn to protect it. You learn that time spent in meaningless conversations with people who drain you is time you can't get back. Frank, 81, used to attend every gathering he was invited to. He answered every phone call. He thought saying yes was what a good person does, but he was always tired. Eventually, he stopped going unless he really wanted to. He started saying no without guilt. And what happened? He had more energy for things that actually mattered, like spending time with his granddaughter, going for quiet walks, or finishing the book he had put off for years. You don't owe anyone your time, and you don't need to explain why you're not available. Ask yourself before saying yes. Will this bring me joy? Will this support my health or peace of mind? Am I doing this out of pressure or guilt? If the answer is no, you have every right to protect your time. After 70, time is not just time, it's life. Use it wisely. 5. The ability to be alone with yourself is a real strength. For many years we were taught the more people around, the better. They said that loneliness is something bad, that you need to hold on to acquaintances, call, meet, so as not to be alone. But over the years a different understanding comes. After 70, you begin to understand, being alone with yourself does not mean being lonely. You are no longer afraid of silence. You no longer need to prove something to someone, to maintain contact out of habit or out of politeness. People often confuse loneliness with silence. Loneliness is when you are not understood, even if you are among people. And silence is when you feel good alone. And you don't need to pretend. Margaret, 76, once tried not to miss a single meeting. She was afraid of losing touch with her social circle. But after each conversation she felt tired, irritated, emptiness. One day she simply stopped forcing herself. She started walking more alone, reading in a coffee shop, just being silent. And she discovered this was enough for her. She didn't feel abandoned. She felt free. It's important to learn to find support not only in the words of others but also in yourself, to be able to calm yourself, to hear your own thoughts, to do what interests you, even if no one is around. Because real support is not the presence of others. It's stability within you. If you don't have a large circle of friends right now, it's not a problem, it's normal, and very often, it's the best thing that could have happened to you. 6. Letting go gives you space to start fresh. There is something important that happens after 70. You finally begin to understand that you are allowed to let go. You're allowed to stop chasing people who don't care. You're allowed to stop forcing conversations that no longer feel real. And you're allowed to close chapters that no longer fit who you are today. Many people hold on to friendships out of habit, guilt, or fear of being alone. But what if the truth is this? Some relationships have already served their purpose, and it's okay to release them. Letting go is not giving up. It's making space. Space for rest, space for clarity, space for what truly matters now. Walter, 78, used to think that staying social was the key to staying young. He filled his week with calls and meetings, even when they tired him out. But one evening, sitting alone, he asked himself, why am I still doing this if it doesn't make me happy anymore? So he stopped. He stopped trying to stay in the loop. He stopped going out just to avoid feeling left out. And what he found was surprising. He felt better. He had more energy, more peace, more room to enjoy quiet mornings, meaningful hobbies, and the few people who really mattered. Letting go gave him his life back. If you are holding on to friendships that drain you or no longer make sense, you don't have to keep doing it. You can thank those people in your heart for the role they once played and move on. You are not rejecting them. You are simply choosing yourself now. After 70, you deserve a life that reflects who you are, not who you used to be. And sometimes the best way to begin a new chapter is to gently close the old one. So here's the truth. You don't need more friends to feel complete. You need more truth, more calm, more room to be yourself. You've earned the right to choose peace over pressure, stillness over noise, clarity over confusion. And if this video spoke to you, even just one part, I invite you to share your story in the comments. Tell us what you've let go of and what you've discovered about yourself in the process. Your wisdom matters. Your presence matters. And your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. Thank you for being here. Until next time, take care of yourself, gently, honestly, fully.